Good day class, this is AutoCAD 2020 tutorial. So upon opening AutoCAD, you will be encountering this setup, and I want you to click on Start Drawing. And we're now going to take a look at the different icons that we're going to use in AutoCAD. On this corner, you're going to have in here your Applications menu. And under Applications menu, you have in there the option of saving and importing or exporting documents, just like what you do in other softwares like Microsoft Word and Excel. Then below it, you have this ribbon. In that ribbon, you have different tabs and a corresponding panel below it. In those panels, you have icons that allows you to place or modify objects in AutoCAD. There are also hidden icons that are available if you click on the triangle. So you have that, and same is true in Modify, Annotation, and Layers. Now in here, you have your basic navigation portion in AutoCAD. You have your north, east, west, south, and your cube. In this cube, by clicking on the different portions of the cube, you can modify the 3D view of your AutoCAD. But this time, we're going to first focus on the top view. Below it, you have the command line. Under the command line, there is going to be a space in there where you can type text or commands that will allow you to indicate what command you're going to use in AutoCAD. Then below it, you have your status bar. In the status bar, you can have in here different setups. So for example, if I disable my grid mode, you will notice that the grid is now going to disappear. We are going to focus ourselves on three icons. You have in here your polar, ortho, and you have your snapping of reference lines. There are other icons in there that we will tend to take a look later on what's the functionality of each and every icon in there. In here, you have your model, layout 1, and layout 2. These layouts are where you place your drawing or set it up in order for you to convert it to a PDF and allow it to be printed as a PDF file. So for the meantime, we will be focusing first on the model portion. Before the start of any command, we usually tend to make it a habit to press the escape key. Upon pressing the escape key, you cancel any active command that you currently have in AutoCAD, that this will allow you to start with a new command. And in our new command, we wish to set up our units to millimeters. So I'm going to type the word units, then enter, and a new palette will appear. Make sure that you set up your units to millimeters, and you can adjust the precision as you wish. Then you choose OK. Another thing that you can do is you can customize your setup in AutoCAD by doing a right click, then choosing Options. In here, under Display, you can change the colors. And you have in here the background, the color of the crosshair, and other items that you can modify. But for now, we will stick to this customized setup for AutoCAD. Same is true with the size of your crosshair. I can adjust the size of my crosshair, apply. Then you will notice the corresponding increase in the size of my crosshair. Going back, there are also other options that you can modify. For example, under Selection, you can adjust the pick box size and the grip size of your items. If you are working with a small laptop or screen, one thing that you can do is you can increase your model space by hiding your ribbon. One way to do this is by doing a double click on the space on the upper portion of the ribbon. let's say for this location, let's try to do a fast double click. That one will tend to minimize your icons and tabs. Doing again a fast double click. And another fast double click. And you will notice that the size of my modeling window has increased, and that allows me to place more objects. And especially for small screens, this one is quite advantageous. To return to the original setup, you simply repeat the same process. Double click. And it returns to your original setup. The first commands that we're going to use is the use of line and polyline. There are three ways of placing your line and your polyline. One is by clicking the icon and directly clicking and dragging it into your modeling window. To be able to end your line, you simply press escape key, and that this will end now or terminate your line command. Another way of doing it is we type in the word line, then enter, and at the same time click and drag across our modeling window, then escape key, or enter if you wish to do so. Another way of doing it is by using command shortcuts. Now the command shortcuts for line is L, then enter. Then once again, I can place my lines in my Autocad drawing. The same is true for polyline. Now polyline is used by the command shortcut PL. So I type in the word PL, then enter. I can now click and drag across my modeling window. And I can use also enter as an alternative to escape. But my suggestion is to usually use escape, as it automatically allows you to proceed with the next command that you wish to use. Now, what's the difference between line and polyline? If I select now or click on a line, one thing that you will notice is that a line is selected independent of other items upon clicking. It is treating each line as a separate entity. Then I press escape key. But if I choose polyline, one thing that you will notice is that the polyline acts as a single entity. All of the lines were interconnected. This one is of course different if I place another polylines, escape key. Escape. What you will notice is that each polyline is being set apart as a unique set depending on the termination of your polyline. So that's the difference between your line and your polyline. Let's now take a look at navigation. Navigation in AutoCAD is simple. One thing that you can do is for zooming in and zooming out, you simply roll your scroll mouse bar. This one allows you to zoom in and zoom out in your AutoCAD. By pressing down your mouse wheel, it will turn into your pan command. As long as the mouse wheel is held down, you can pan your AutoCAD drawing. So that one is your navigation. In case, let's say that you have been lost or unable to find your drawing, what you can do is you type in the word Z, enter, E, enter, and automatically you will zoom to the extent of your AutoCAD drawing. To allow you to select items in AutoCAD, you simply click on the items that you wish to select, and automatically it will add to your selection. To deselect an item, you simply hold down Shift and it will allow you now to deselect the items that you have already selected. Another way of doing this is to use selection box. So type in first escape key. A selection box allows you to select an object on two ways. One is going to the left and another one is going to the right. If I click, release, and drag, you will notice that the box that is generated is color green. And if, let's say, memorize this location, I simply click again on that corner. One thing that you will notice, any item that is in contact with that rectangular corner has been selected. Let's do that again. Click, say at that location, click again. You will notice it selected those items it has been in contact with. So even on partial selection, let's say on that portion only, you can still select those items. However, if you are going from the other direction, click, release, then partial selection. Let's try that. One thing that you will notice, it will select only entities that are entirely inside the blue rectangle. Let's do that again. Click, release, and drag. It will select only items that are completely inside the blue rectangle. So those are the two ways of selecting items in Autocad. For this portion of your activity, let's say you want now to delete certain items or lines in your Autocad drawing. So what you do, you select those lines that you wish to delete. Then simply press the delete key. So let's now try to delete all of our items. Select all of those objects, then press in your delete key. If you wish to draw a line that is more specific, I activate my command line, L, enter, click, and then drag my item. Then one thing that you will notice is that I can now type the distance of which I am dragging my line. So let's say I type in the distance 10,000 or 10 meters. Enter. Then escape to end the command. I will now zoom out towards the extent of that line. So in here you have your line that is 10,000 millimeters long. Let's now take a look at the purpose of your ortho. If I click and activate my ortho and I type in the command line, L, enter, one thing that you will notice is that every line that I tend to draw is for always parallel to the X or Y axis. It would be difficult for me to draw a diagonal line. However, if the polar is active, you will notice that it allows me to draw lines in the diagonal direction. So that's the major difference between your polar and your ortho. Other items that you can place in AutoCAD is a circle. So I type in C, enter, click, and drag. I can specify the radius. Let's say I type in 2,500, enter. Then you have in here a circle with a radius of 2,500. I can also use the word arc or A, enter, click, drag, and I can specify the arc that I wish to draw in. Another items that I can access, the different commands, spline. Spline is a type of polyline that is curvy in nature. So I type in the word spline, SPL as a shortcut, enter, and I can click on different locations, allowing me to draw a line that is spline. Let's now modify the different items in our drawing. So the first one is move. So I can select the different items. Let's say this spline and this line and this circle. I type in M, enter. I can click and drag on any point. The first point that you're going to indicate is going to be your base point. It will serve as a reference point in order for you to guide it towards the general direction that you wish to move your object. So let's say I wish to move my object towards the negative y-axis. I drag it towards that direction, and I can type the specific distance of how much I wish to move that object. So let's say I type in 2000, enter. The object now is moved towards that direction at a distance of 2000. The next one is rotate. It allows you to rotate that object. So let's say escape to deactivate the command. Then I select the object. Then rotate. RO, enter. Click on the rotation axis point. Click, then I can now specify the rotation angle if I wish so. So let's say I type in 30, enter. Oh, sorry, it's the opposite direction. It should have been negative 30 going towards the clockwise direction. Okay, so that one is your rotate. To do or redo your object, you can type in Control Z or Control Y for redo. Another item is your trim. Now trimming is a little bit tricky. So trimming is a way of cutting any excess object with use of a reference line. So let's try in the command trim, escape, first, TR, enter, select the cutting line, enter, then select the line that you wish to cut. One thing that you will notice, the cutting line that I initially selected served as my cutting line. Then escape to end the command. Let's try that again with a different line, PL. I draw again another line, escape. I will now use this one as my cutting line again. So TR, enter, click, enter, then click on the lines that I wish to cut. Take note that my cutting line will only cut lines that are in contact with it. It will not cut lines that are not intersecting with your cutting line. Another thing that we can do is we can use the command copy. So if I select an object, then type in the word CO, enter, I can click and drag and click towards the desired location, or I can type again the distance of where I wish to direct my object. So I type in 5000 towards the direction, enter, escape to end the command. Mirror allows you to create a copy that is a mirror reflection of the object. So let's say I select this object, I activate the mirror command, MI, enter, click on a point of reference or point of axis of your mirror. So let's say at this point, click, and you will notice that it will create a mirrored copy of your object. However, it will ask you if you wish to erase your source object. I simply choose yes. Or if I am a little bit lazy, I can type in the word Y, enter. Okay. If you do not wish to erase the object, you choose no. Another item is fillet. Now let's say we have a sharp corner. I create two lines, PL, and another line. Or let's say there's a sharp corner again. Create another one. Escape. Fillet allows you to smoothen out the sharp corners of lines and polylines. So I type in F, enter. Then if you notice on the command line, it is asking me to select first object or undo, polyline, radius, trim, or multiple. I am going to choose radius, so I simply type in R, enter. Then I type the radius of the corner. So let's say I am going to type in 300, enter, then click. One thing you will notice is if I go to a closer look, there is now that smoothening out of that sharp corner. Now the radius of this one, of course, is 300, the distance you have just previously typed. Another interesting thing that you can do in AutoCAD is with the use of offset. Now offset allows you to create an exactly parallel line to your existing line. So let's say I type in the word offset or O, enter. I can now specify the distance or offset distance from your line. So let's say I type in again 1000, enter. I can now select the line or polyline that I wish to offset. Click and drag towards the direction that you wish to offset that line. So let's say I wish to offset it in that direction. Same is true with this. I can offset this one towards that direction. Without disabling the command or pressing the escape key, you can continuously repeat that process. So you can do the offset as many times as you like, as long as you are not pressing the escape key. Another command that we're going to take a look at is the command extend. So activate escape first, then type in EX, enter. Select the object to be hit by the extend, then enter, then select the object that will hit that line. So for this example, that line and this line. Let's do that again. Extend, EX, enter. Let's say this object, enter, then click. That is extend. Now let's say you want to have this line meet up with this line at a certain corner. Now one way you can do that is you can stretch this line. You can do stretching by selecting this line, clicking on the grip point, then dragging it towards the direction that you wish to drag that endpoint. Then later on you can do extend, drag, so EX, enter, click, enter. Then afterwards you can trim your object. Okay, so a shorter way to do that, let's do some Control Z, is to use fillet. So F, enter, R, enter, but instead of typing in a radius value, I'm going to type in 0, then enter. Now if I try now to fillet, you will notice that it will meet up into a corner. One thing that you will notice, since our radius for our fillet is 0, it will not generate a curve towards our corner. Then for other ways of trimming, one thing that you can do for trimming is you type in double enter. So let's try trim, TR, enter, you make it fast, then click on any object that you wish to trim. So that one is your double enter. You can also do that one again with extend. So let's say EX, enter, enter. So you can simply click on the line and it will automatically activate your extend command. So those are your double enter options for extend and trim. Let's undo those changes. Let's now try the command EXTRIM. EXTRIM is a little bit of a shortcut. So EXTRIM, then let's say I select this circle. And now I want to trim all of the objects outside of this circle. So if I click outside of that circle, it will automatically trim all of those lines. Let's do that again. EXTRIM, enter. But this time, instead of clicking on the outside, I will click now on the inside of the circle. Then one thing you will notice, it will also trim on which side of the circle you're going to click. Now EXTRIM will also work for lines besides circles. So let's undo that a little bit. So let's try now to do an EXTRIM using this line as our cutting line. So escape, EXTRIM, then enter, click this line, then specify which side you're going to trim your object. So let's say I click in here, it will automatically cut that those lines and that circle along the line that you have just selected. Let's do that again. EXTRIM, escape, EXTRIM, enter, select the object and click on this side. Okay, so if you'll notice, it can also cut in this side of your line. So you have several options of doing your EXTRIM. So previously we have been working on your ortho and your polar mode. Now in your polar mode, you can actually customize that polar option into 30 and 60 or 90 degree interval. If you activate this option, it allows you now to draw lines at certain intervals of 30 or 60 degree intervals. So you have there 60 degree option, then of course 90, another 60, 30, and 90. This one is quite important if, let's say, you wish to draw your objects at the orthographic mode, and it allows you to draw at the 30, 60, 90 degree angles. If you wish to lock that option, you can choose ISO draft. So if I activate this option, one thing that you will notice, the cursor is rotated. And if I activate the ortho and I draw now a line, that line is locked towards your 30 degree angle. However, if you wish to do a vertical line, you press in F5. F5. And what happens is that axis is rotated. Press in again F5. It will rotate again. Okay. So depending on which direction, you can adjust the mode of your drawing by pressing F5. It allows you to rotate your axis. So if you disable that again, you will go back now to your original cursor orientation. Now in here, this one is your snapping of reference lines. Let's demonstrate how that works. So let's say I have in here a line, and I wish now to extend that line without typing the distance, and I want that line to reach towards this location. So what I do is I bring my cursor close to that location, And one thing that you will notice is that a green dashed line is going to appear, indicating that if I click that line, it will terminate an alignment to that point. Okay, so activate, going close to that line, then click, then automatically it will close your object. Let's do that with the polar active. So activate polar, again, PL. Okay, let's say I want to terminate in line with this location. So I simply drag, then bring it close, indicating to Autocad that I want to terminate in line with this point or corner. There, then click. Okay, so another thing that you can do with this option is that you can actually use it to select also even the middle. But one thing that you will notice, I am not able to select the middle of the line. Now to activate that, I can go to your object snap setting or OSnap. So if I choose the options in here, I activate midpoint. Once again, let's do that again. I click on the triangle beside it, then click on midpoint. So let's do that again. Let's say I try to draw a line from the bottom going on top. Then I wish that line to terminate at the middle of this line. So I select that line, then click. Okay. So what I do is I slightly drag the cursor towards the midpoint, because by this point I am now able to select the midpoint of those lines. Now using that midpoint of the line, I can actually stretch the rectangle. By stretching the rectangle, thus grip points, I can adjust the shape of my object. Another thing to consider is the annotation. This one is applicable for adjusting the sizes of your text and your dimension. We will discuss this later on when we deal with dimensions and text. But for now, the key thing that you need to consider are these items, this one, this option, and your polar and ortho. Okay, so snapping your inferences, reference lines, inferencing. Okay, that is the term that we use to describe when we tend to guide our lines by a predetermined point. As a final note in AutoCAD, every time that you are going to start a new command, always remember to press in your escape key to cancel any previous command. And as an alternative to enter, you can use actually your spacebar. Okay, so let's say I type in the command PL, I click, I type the distance, let's say I type in 400, enter. And as an alternative, if I continue a distance, let's say I type in 300, instead of using enter, I can also use spacebar. So spacebar. Then inferencing, I can do again a click, and I can type a distance 200, and then spacebar as an alternative to enter. Let's say we wish to divide a line of a length of 6,000 millimeters. So I create a polyline. I type in the distance 6,000, and I wish now to divide this line into 5 equal parts. The command that I'm going to use is the command divide. So escape first, then type in the shortcut for divide, which is div, then spacebar, select the object, then I'm going to type the number of segments, which is 5, then enter. If I now select the entire object, one thing you will notice is the appearance of those divisions marked by those small blue squares. Now if I select those item by drawing a polyline, I was not able to determine those location. Now one reason is that in my object snap setting, I need to check the node option. So node option, this one will allow me to select the location of those points. So I can now draw a line again, PL, then draw a line. Okay. A node is actually a point. So if I delete this line, that is actually your node that is created, that small dot in there. So if I delete this one, that is your node. That is the use of your command divide. Now let's say there are several entities. Polyline, another polyline, and another polyline. Now you wish to combine this one into a single entity. The command that you're going to use is join. So escape command, then join, enter, then I can select my objects, then spacebar or enter, and it will turn into a interconnected polyline. If you wish to break a line, you can type in the command break or BR as a shortcut, then enter. I can actually select a point, then which point I wish to break that line. It will allow you now to break that line. That is your command break.